So in the previous live stream, we talked about our analysis on the dollar areas we're anticipating to see the dollar gravitate to. We talked about how you can use this measurement to determine the directional bias in the marketplace, how to use the impulsive nature in price to know whether we're trending to the upside or to the downside. For example, we can see this impulsive move right here. And you can see that it basically took price a few hours from this low to create this high. It took price about 7 bars and 7 hours to create this high. And after that, it took price about 68 bars and 4 days, 21 hours to come to the downside, showing that the momentum is at the upside. Now, that being said, it certainly means that every down move to the downside will look for an opportunity for price to continue higher. And in the previous live stream, I talked about this inefficiency right scenario here to be our drawn liquidity to attract price to the upside. And as you can see, we had liquidity resting right there as well, inefficiency resting right there. Now we still want to see higher prices on the euro, on the dollar. So despite the fact that I was anticipating for this to be a drawn liquidity magnet to attract price upside, it doesn't really mean that when price comes to this key level that we're just going to close the position, right? It essentially means that this key level is going to be an area to look out for that could potentially constitute some level of retracement in the marketplace. So we'll go to the 16-hour time frame to see what's happening there, and we don't really have much information on the current price action. Now, if we go to the 8-hour time frame, the first thing we see the bodies of the candle resting right here. Second thing we see inefficiency resting right here as well. So we'll go down to the 4-hour time frame, and on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that on the 4-hour time frame, we have inefficiency resting right here on the 4-hour time frame. So basically, don't know whether price is going to come here or not, but we still want to see an impulsive move to the upside. And the next 4-hour candle is going to surface in about 27 minutes. So we'll be anticipating to see what that is going to do in the marketplace. Potentially, that could come into this key level because we have this inefficiency. And if price comes into this key level and then we see something like a 15-minute shift in market structure, then we'll potentially look for buys for US dollar to continue going to the upside, because overall we still want to see the US dollar trend to the upside for a little bit, even if our 12 months market analysis is showing us bearishness. We're still anticipating to see price have a retest either at this key level or rally into an extreme premium. And then if we do see a shift in market structure from that key level, then we'll be looking for potential entries into the marketplace. So that being said, we'll be watching this key level. We'll scale down to 3-hour time frame to see what the 3-hour time frame is doing. And on the 3-hour time frame, we can see clearly on the 3-hour time frame right here inefficiency, and we also have this previous bodies of the candles right here before we trended to the downside. So we look at 2-hour time frame to see what 2-hour time frame is showing us as well. And on the 2-hour time frame, there isn't really so much to work with besides just this inefficiency we mitigated. So we scale down to 1-hour time frame to look even deeper. So on the 1-hour time frame, we can see very clearly on the 1-hour time frame, we have this candle right here, and there's liquidity there, and we have this inefficiency and also this inefficiency. So all we're gonna do is to wait patiently to see price come into our key level, and if price comes into our key level, the next thing we'll do will be to look for potential reactions. Now we can try using our Fibonacci to see what it looks like as well from the low to the high right here. And using our Fibonacci, it's showing us that this is the extreme, this is the discount position right now. It doesn't really mean that price is definitely going to come into this discount, but it's something to also take note of, because we have high impact news today by 1:30, if I'm not mistaken. So today is Wednesday. So let's look at we have a high impact news by 1:30 today. So that could bring some level of volatility into the marketplace, which is the reason why I wouldn't be surprised to see price retest the equilibrium zone on this one. But firstly, let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see where we are in the marketplace. On the 4-hour, this is our overall high and this has become our overall low. Now you can see that right here, we mitigated this inefficiency, which is also resting at the premium zone. That is the reason we're seeing this rejection, because a lot of institutions that got into a buy on US dollar and US dollar XXX pairs, the moment we tap this equilibrium, digging into this inefficiency, they are scaling out their positions. A lot of them are going to close the entirety of their position, so while some of them are going to just while some of them are just going to take profit, some significant profit, because this is a very significant key level to watch. So if price should tap into the equilibrium and also mitigate the premium zone, which is also resting at and which is also resting at which also has the inefficiency resting at that key level. That means that this position is high probability to see some level of sales. Now, I'm not saying these sales are gonna take the overall low, but these sales is something to also look out for, because two things are involved. It's either we're going to see a huge retracement to the downside and then a continuation to the upside, or price could reverse from there and continue to the downside. These are two things that could happen in this kind of situation. But I'm personally not looking forward for this to drop from this key level. I'm looking forward for it to mitigate, retest some certain key levels, continue higher. That is what I would expect to see in the marketplace. But personally, we're just going to be patient and see what price is going to eventually do. And so far, you can see we're trending down into that position. Now, let's look at it on the 15 minutes time frame. There isn't really so much to see there beside the inefficiency and this last down close candle before an expansion. So this is the area I'm going to be watching for the dollar. I'll be watching it closely to see what price is going to eventually do when it comes to that key level. So we're going to cross correlate the information that we've gathered from the dollar. We're going to cross correlate that with the euro. And if we cross correlate that with the euro, like I said in the previous live stream, the one thing I'm looking forward to seeing in the euro is for price to come into this position, right? This is my key level. And another thing I'm also looking forward to see is whether we're going to run this liquidity or just be satisfied with just this liquidity. But personally, I don't think price will be satisfied by taking just this liquidity. And the reason I already outlined that in the previous live stream, and I'm still going to talk about it in this live stream. The reason is because there wasn't any significant low that was taken when we dropped down here. No significant low was broken. No significant liquidity was taken. So now, after we had this impulse, we had a retracement right here, feel this inefficiency, which is great. But this low right here didn't take any liquidity. So for me to ascertain that a certain point of interest is high probability, I would like to see it run previous liquidity, previous low, previous high, and I also talked about an example as well, which is this position. You can see this high, this low, and we broke structure. And after we broke structure right here, you can see that on the 4 hour time frame. After we broke this structure, now this was the last down close candle before expansion to break this structure, right? I know you must be wondering, isn't this the last down close candle? But the truth is, this is not the last down close candle. This was. Now let's go to the smaller time frame, right? Let's go to like 2 hour time frame to see this really much more clearer. You can see that this was the last down close candle. This is retracement. This is consolidation. I don't regard this as a low. I regard this as liquidity resting right here. I wouldn't put my stop loss right here for any reason, right? But I can actually confidently put my stop loss right here because this low took liquidity from this previous low. Now let's zoom in on that to see what it looks like. And as you can see, we have a previous low, and this low right here took liquidity from this low, right? So the fact that it took that liquidity, that means there's no pocket of money resting right here anymore. Like I said in the previous live stream, the algorithm, when the algorithm is hunting for liquidity, it's basically like someone's owing you money and you're definitely going to come back and take your money. So that is the reason why I feel like this is just my personal opinion about euro. I feel like this area right here has an induced liquidity. So basically, this area owes the market money, owes the algorithm money because the algorithm is intentionally leaving pockets of money right here because they know that a lot of traders are going to be trailing the stop loss to this low in anticipation that this low is definitely going to hold, which is very 100% possible. But from my personal experience and things I've seen in the marketplace, I wouldn't be 100% sure that this low is going to hold, right? I even feel more confident that this low could potentially be the target. Once this key level gets swept, I will be looking at this price action very closely, because if we do eventually come down and sweep this low and I see a significant shift in market structure from like 5 minutes, I'm going to be looking for entries to get into a long position. And I'll be targeting really astronomical highs, especially this position. This right here is a low resistance liquidity run. Right here, low resistance. I talked about low resistance and high resistance liquidity runs. And one of the reasons why I'm saying this is, for example, you can see this low, a high, a drop. You can see right here how we took liquidity from this previous low and rallied. This right here is a high resistance liquidity run. Yes, here is still liquidity. Every single high is liquidity. Every single low is liquidity. No matter how high it is, it's liquidity. An all-time high is liquidity. An all-time low is liquidity, right? But one to understand is, when we have liquidity, for example, you can see this right here. This right here looks very similar to this because we created a high, failed to create a higher high, and then we drop down. This right here is low resistance liquidity. I'm going to outline that as well. You can see that right here is low resistance liquidity. Right here, low resistance liquidity, which means that when price wants to run through it, it's just going to smash through. You can see how we smashed through this key level. We just created a high, a low, and we just smashed through it. But when it's, for example, this right here is a high resistance liquidity. Look at how much it kept resisting price. After we made a high, price came back down. There was a lot of support right here, and it pushed price to the upside. Price came back down. It pushed price to the upside, consistently pushing us to the upside. But look at how we rallied above this previous high. Low resistance liquidity. Look at how we rally, we smash through it. It's so easy for price to run through it. That is why this key level, I see this as a low resistance liquidity. And once we found support somewhere, probably around here or this low, get swept, this right here will be a very easy target for price to rally above this high, smash through it, and continue trending to the upside, right? So that is what I'm looking forward to seeing in the marketplace. I appreciate you for tuning in. And if you do have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat and I'm going to be there to answer you all. And until next time, I'll talk to you all in the next live stream. Have an amazing day.